Hey everyone, so in a previous video I demonstrated how you could use the physics system to animate an object such as a cupboard door or a drawer that you wanted to slide out or slide in, and that you would add a rigid body, you would click on it, and then that by doing so, either angular velocity or velocity would be applied to the object and that would create the animation. And one person commented, well, why not just use a pre-built animation? And they're completely correct. That is probably what you would do. You would just do a built-in animation. However, since I am not a 3D modeler, what I did is I've purchased an asset from the store and I'll show you how to call those animations. And what you're going to see is it really isn't any different than the other animations I've shown you, like when you have a character running, jumping, climbing, getting hit. It's the same thing where you're going to use get component and you call the animator component and then you call which animation you want to play. But since someone mentioned it, I figured I would demonstrate how you would do this. And again, this is with a pre-made package with the animations already built in. So that means it's going to serve basically as a second purpose, and that is be an asset review. So this is Treasure Chest Animated. It is by Downtown Game Studio, who I haven't purchased anything from previously. This one is a fairly new package. As of the time of recording, it's only a few days old, and you can see it's fairly small. It's under 2 megabytes, and I believe it was just under $5 USD. I think it was $4.99. So as always, decide for yourself if you feel that is worth it. So those are the basics about the package itself. You will get this folder, Downtown Game Studio. However, you'll also have in Scenes folder. This is not the default sample scene that comes with a new project. This is actually theirs. So as you can see, they saved most of their assets in this folder, but for whatever reason, this one goes out to the scene folder and saves it there. This is potentially a problem if you have an asset in this folder, also called sample scene. Like I said, that's the default name, sample scene. So just be mindful of that you don't want to be using that name. You probably won't anyways. But if you have other assets that have that name and are in that folder, they'll probably be overwritten. So I just want to call that out. That's one of the reasons why I do these asset reviews, is to let you know if there is a potential issue. So again, most of the files are in here, but they do put the sample scene there. So we'll go back into this folder and we'll just create a new scene. And we'll go to the prefab, chests, and let's just open this one up. So if we go to animator, what you'll see is by default, they are transitions. So it goes from chest move, chest open, chest close, back to chest move. So if we put this into our scene, and it doesn't matter which one, and let's rotate this 180 so it's facing the camera. And then we'll also move our camera because it's too far away. I'll just zoom this in. And certainly you could use this for different purposes. You could either find this in a dungeon, or you could have this be in an after screen, like someone has earned a treasure chest or a loot box. You could use it for that. You could also use this type of functionality with, say, Resident Evil type of game. So survival horror where you open up a storage bin, you take stuff out, but then you want the storage bin to close again. So fortunately, they included a close animation, so I'll show you how to call that. And again, most of this is just using the get component animator. So let's just run it as it is normally. Bounces, opens, closes. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of some of these transitions. Now, there's some ways that you can duplicate this animation. I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to copy, paste, and then create a transition back and forth. So it creates an infinite loop. So make transition, click, right click, make transition, click. And honestly, some of the animation, if you have like, say, like a walk cycle, this is what I've seen some animators do, even from things I've bought off of the Unity store. So we've got an infinite cycle there now. So let's just run this one more time. And there you go. You can see it's bouncing about. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to call the chest open animation. Now, if you click on the chest, you'll see that all there is the transform. So this is really just an empty parent object, probably to make it easier for placement. And then here is the actual object that has the animator. So what we're going to add physics box collider. And I'm not worried too much about the exact parameters of the box collider as long as I can click on it. And I do want to call out that if you're doing this for your game, you're probably going to do this on the prefab level rather than the one in the scene. Because if you do this on the one in the scene, you either then have to create a new prefab or do this for every single instance of it. So even though I'm working on it in the scene, you're probably going to work on it in the source prefab itself. Okay, so it's got its box collider. We'll add the script, and we'll go into that script. So I only added one thing. I added on mouse down. So if we click on the object, what's going to happen is we're looking at the animator component, and we're going to play chest open. And I believe I already saved this. So if we run this now, it's bouncing, 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 and then we click, and it opens. And it's going to stay open because we broke the transition. We deleted the transition. So now maybe you do want it to close. Now, maybe you want it to close automatically. So if that's the case, then we can just go back here. From chest open, we do chest close. It will be closed, but it won't go back to chest move. So if we run it now, so bounce in infinitely, we click on it, it opens, closes, but no more chest bouncing. And that's also something that I've seen in games that they'll have it like bouncing around, but once it closes, then maybe it disappears, it spins and disappears. So I think that's just about all that I wanted to demonstrate. So we reviewed the asset. I let you know that there is a scene that's saved separately outside of the main folder. And to be cautious, if you have a file, well, specifically if you have a scene by that name, it will probably be overwritten if it's in that folder. We talked about applying the animations, and just one last thing, we'll just so you can see them, we'll put the other two on the screen as well. Although you can see these on the Unity Store website, and the idea is that they're meant to be different grades of chest, like one is basic, one is intermediate, and one is high end. And you can see that they also vaguely change the sizes too. So if we do this, you can see that small kind of looks like wooden, basic metal. This one's a little bit more ornate. And then this one is obviously meant to be even more so, I believe. It says standard, royal, and mythic, and this one does look slightly bigger than that. It's just really scaling. And that's about it. You could do other things like when if you need a key, what you'd have to do is on mouse down, you'd put an if statement that checks to see if you have a key. I'm not going to do the whole thing since we don't have the variable, but you would do like an if, and so rather than having this happen unconditionally, it would check to see like if have key equals, I usually don't use Boolean, so I'll usually just use like yes or no. So this would be a variable that gets changed to yes when you pick up a key, that kind of thing. Okay, so I think that's about it. That's really all I wanted to show you. So I hope that you found this helpful, and please enjoy the rest of your day.